Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. Today is day 49. We are almost to the big 5-0 of this season. Today was the veto ceremony. We have a lot, trust me, a lot to get into when it comes to that, the aftermath of it, but also what's going on with the Morgan Vince dynamic right now in the house. I mean, you guys have probably seen it. It's something that at this point, we got to talk about what's going on here.
We absolutely have to talk about it. I mean, it is like the number one thing that everybody is talking about. For those of you who don't know, Vince has a girlfriend. There are pictures of his girlfriend in his HOH room. And Morgan and Vince have been getting very, very close in a way that has generated a lot of discussion online. So yeah, we feel like we need to weigh in as well. Everybody weighing in, we're going to weigh in.
Yeah,
too.
we've got some examples of what exactly is happening here. We'll share some of our thoughts on it. Of course, before we get into any of it, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button because every day, Jess and I are here talking about all things Big Brother 27. Like we set up, day 50 right around the corner. We still have a lot of excitement still to come, but beyond that, there's other excitement in the reality TV world right now. I mean, Survivor 49 is on the way, and we're really looking forward to getting back into Survivor. And of course, we love the Amazing Race in general, but adding Big Brother alumni and their loved ones into the mix, like, that is just catnip for us. Like, we are so psyched to talk about that this season here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed and helped build our channel into what it is today. We really appreciate it so much. We can't even say thank you enough for that. And if you want further Big Brother discussions with us, we're having them over on our Patreon. I'll leave a link for you below if you want to join our Patreon. It helps support us as well.
Thank you guys so much for your support there. Like, that really does mean the world. Okay, there's two different angles we can approach this, what's going on with Morgan and Vince's situation.
Yes.
We have, first and foremost, there is this emotional codependency that has kind of formed between the two, where it feels like if one of them is away from the other one too long, like they start to get really frazzled. Morgan has started to be like, it's been too long since I've had a conversation with Vince. I need to have a conversation with Vince. So like there's that part of it, which is a little bit strange.
Yeah, they are definitely having this emotional codependency on each other. It feels a lot like they both have insecurities and they're able to feed into each other's security. It's almost like security blanket sort of thing. And as I mentioned, Vince does have a girlfriend, and it has been said that his girlfriend has said it is okay if he's flirting in the house. Now, flirting is flirting. I don't know what conversation they had and how far that actually went. If she's like, oh, being like, oh, hey is fine, or like a hey, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or is it okay to be cuddling in bed? Now, let's put that out there right now. These two have not kissed or anything that has like crossed the line in that way. But I'll tell you right now, if my partner was on the show and they're in bed cuddling with somebody, somebody's getting a cut ass when they get off the show. I'm not okay with that. That's not flirting anymore to me. How do you guys feel? Do you feel that cuddling in bed or having like these extra long hugs crossing the line or not? Emotional support at this point or not? Big Brother's a hard game.
It is a really hard game. Right? That security blanket was a great word for you to use, or words for you to use to describe this, because it really does feel like they are emotionally leaning on each other really hard, but then they're also physically leaning on each other in a way that is, shall we say, awkward to watch. It is the long hugs. It is the crawling across the bed to hug to the other person. Like, there's just a lot of it even today, because Keanu kept them apart for a little while, and when they reunited, it was this whole thing, to the point where Morgan did not want Lauren to come up and interrupt the two of them. And it's a situation where, like, I'm single, like, I'll throw that out there, but it's, if I was with somebody, I would be uncomfortable. Like, I will put it out there. Like, I'm not a super possessive guy. I'm not like a super jealous person either, but I think
no, but Matt's going to give you a cut ass.
Well,
no,
yeah.
I'm kidding. But
I would, because it's just, I want to feel secure. And I think it's very difficult if you're somebody watching this on the live feeds with somebody that you're with. Now, I've said all that. no judgment on anybody else, because like everybody has their own rules and definitions for
Right.
a relationship. And Vince and his girlfriend, like they had whatever conversations that they had. If she's fine with it, like really, that's all that matters. It's just we have gotten to the point where it is a conversation online. But beyond all of that, because we do keep things pretty game focused here,
Yes.
it is a situation where how dependent the two are on each other and how much time they spend alone together, like that is something that other people in the game have taken note of, and it's something that really could actually spell trouble for the two of them, like whether it's next week, the week after. Like it's very easy to imagine they're going to get put on the block together.
For sure. It's very obvious now that they are like really a duo. And I
Yeah.
mean, Lauren was someone who was very close to Vince. You know, Vince was very close to her as well. But now Morgan is kind of like shielding Vince away from everybody. And they are part of the judges too. But, you know, if they're very obvious duo, then you want to split that up. For the judges, it may not be wanting to do that right away. But at the same time, you don't want to let that continue on. And there are, and I am not saying that this is what is happening, but sometimes we see people who go in with girlfriends or boyfriends and end up in relationships with other people and leave the house with people. It does happen. I am not saying that that's happening here. So, like, you know, I don't want all the Vinny and Morgan people and, you know, Vinny's parents or girlfriend. I'm not saying that that is what is happening here. But at the same time, they might as well be in like a friend mance, we'll call it, at this point, where they are just so close.
It's just a bizarre trauma bond where you go into a reality TV show together. Like nobody really understands that experience. Like I say this as somebody who's been on reality TV. It's just, it's very easy to form lasting relationships or to get your mind mixed up because you're just in this spot that's so compressed. You have nothing to think about other than the game you're playing and the people you're playing it with. It gets very, very complicated. But these two, they've put themselves in a very strange position because it's also a position where Morgan has deeply impacted Vince's game this week, like to the point where she's basically gotten almost everything she wants. And if we're to talk about her being a co-HOH, like at this point, it's kind of sort of valid.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Okay, so we'll use that as a good jumping off point here. So the veto ceremony happened earlier today.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, Mickey used the veto on herself, as we all knew that she would. And where there was lots of discussion, is Vince going to put up Rachel? There was lots of thought about that maybe he was going to do that. Then there was Catherine was also on the table. And he has ended up putting up Catherine, which to me was the better move at this point.
It was really down to the wire to me, it felt like. Like, it legitimately felt like at various points earlier today that he was actually going to put up Rachel. But no, he puts up Catherine. We'll get more into the reasons why in just a moment. But I am sitting here right now feeling like I'm in total agreement with you. It's just like, I know there are a ton of people out there who are like, oh, you might not ever get another shot at Rachel.
You will get that shot. It is, there's still so much game to play. And right now, it's just not the time for him to completely destroy that alliance. It doesn't make any sense to me right now. She will end up going. I don't think she's going to end up winning this game again, as much as I like her. She just has such a huge target on her and so many people after her.
It's true. And I think this is a situation where we love Rachel, but Rachel does have an uphill battle. And for Vince,
unfortunately,
you get rid of Rachel or try to get rid of Rachel at this point. I said this yesterday, I stand by it. If this was a situation where the blockbuster was not in play, I think you can heavily entertain that possibility. But now she has a very good chance of winning that. She's going to come off the block anyway. If you really wanted to get Rachel out, you should have put her up with, you know, Will and Ashley from the get-go. You've already put yourself in a position where just with the other nominations, you've basically committed to one side. You don't need to jump back and forth here. And I also feel like Rachel, for now, is a big asterisk. I don't think Rachel is going to immediately go after Vince, because if she goes after Vince and Vince is gone, Who is the biggest target to the point where it is not even close? It's Rachel, and there is a lot of game left.
100%. I totally agree. I don't think that as much as she wants Vince out and she doesn't want to be sitting at the end with Vince,
Yeah.
I get it. And she shouldn't want to sit at the end with Vince, but Vince is a huge target right now. And so is she. So keeping him in the game,
Yeah.
that's only going to help her. I think if she wins the next HOH, Vinny's not it.
No, and I think it's a situation where for a long time, Rachel was sort of saying, oh, Keanu's my meat shield. I need my meat shield in the game. I need somebody to. Vince can now be your meat shield. I know
Vince, yes.
he does not look like your prototypical meat shield, but it's just so long as Vince is in the game,
Yep.
people are going to come after him. And it is sort of the inverse where Vince needs Rachel. I think final 7, final 6, like that's where you should make this move. You can't go to the final 5 with each other, whether you are Rachel or Vince. That's too late. You don't want to risk a comp run.
No, 6 or 7's the right choice of where either Vince or Rachel takes the other one out.
Okay, so how we got to this point is unbelievably messy. And it starts, of course, with Keanu, who knows no other thing other than to be messy. So yesterday, specifically last night, he started a really chaotic situation where Rachel actually did make a mistake. See, we love Rachel. We can point out her flaws.
Yes.
She spent too long giving Keanu too much information about conversations with Vince that Keanu then went, and of course, because this is Keanu, ran it all back to Vince.
My goodness. It was such a mistake, and it's a mistake that Rachel already knows she shouldn't be doing. She's actually had these conversations in the past with Keanu to basically be like, don't run back and tell Vince. And then Keanu's kind of have to sit by himself to be like, okay, I'm not going to tell Vince. I'm not going to tell Vince. But then he always does. She's fully aware that anything she says, she might as well just have Vince in the room.
I think the problem here, and I know it's funny to say Rachel Riley is the most logical player because this is not Rachel Riley in Big Brother 12. Very much not logical, but I think she has thought too much that Keanu is viewing the game in a logical way. We've talked about this before, that Keanu is emotional in the way that Rachel was her first time, where he doesn't think in terms of how normal people would think. Like, Rachel's right to think, okay, Keanu doesn't have anyone. I can tell him things. He's going to want to trust me. But Keanu is irrational. And all this information getting back to Vince about, oh, is Rachel thinking about getting rid of Vince? Like, is she pitching his name? All these things led to Vince being very, very paranoid, feeling like, okay, Rachel does have to go. Keanu's telling me right information here. Like, what's the point of me really risking anything here for somebody who is already entertaining maybe getting rid of me?
Absolutely. And, Keanu hasn't been that happy with Rachel lately. He's been wanting her out. So, I mean, this was a perfect time for him to take this information back to Vince. The problem is no one's really working with Keanu. So even though he has this information and he can use this information, it's helpful to Vince kind of, but it's not really helpful to Keanu at all because nobody's really riding with him.
I think what made the path to the veto ceremony so interesting is we've all known people like this too, who have a really hard decision to make.
Yep.
You want to be the last person to go to them because okay, they're going to listen to me because I was last. And Keanu had this whole thing even last night where he was staying up to the wee hours of the morning, waiting for Mickey to be done. He's just like crawling into Vince's bed, getting underneath his covers for some reason,
Yeah.
like campaigning. And I think he thought, okay, I can be last. I can really get this information. But Rachel, from what we saw, the feeds cut off while they were talking, like she was last. She went to him right before the veto ceremony, really owned some of the things that happened, also said to him, I wasn't pitching your name specifically, made it very clear that she is infuriated by Keanu. Keanu is the target 100%. You don't have to worry about me, Vince. No, I'm going fully after Keanu now.
And she should be. She needs to stop. Listen, we love Keanu. We are in Keanu corner here. We think he's messy, and we really enjoy watching him. But he is not good for Rachel's game at all. Like, I don't know why she doesn't just get him out, or at the very least, like, Rachel, please stop talking to him.
Yes.
I know you didn't have many options last week, but now you have the judges. Just keep working those relationships.
Rachel needs to be very grateful to Ashley at this point because Ashley's really the one who spelled it out to Rachel how messy Keanu was being
Yeah.
about her name. And that
Yeah.
allowed her to go in here, make it 100% clear to Vince, basically promise Vince almost everything under the sun, like to the point where if Rachel does go and backstab Vince and wins this next HOH, like she's running the risk of, okay, she's obviously gonna lose Vince and she wants Vince out, but she's gonna lose Morgan and she's gonna lose some other people to go along with it. And that's why for now, I would at least trust Rachel to hold on to her end of the bargain for maybe, I don't know, a week or two.
Yeah, she should hold on to it because what's the alternative? You go
Yeah.
back to working with Kelly and Keanu, who's not really working with her anyways. Like she was in such a bad spot 7
Yes.
days ago. Like this, she needs to just ride with the judges a little bit further.
Yeah.
There's lots of game left.
Yeah, there is. Like the only risk Vince has here is, okay, what happens if Will or Ashley win the HOH? Like maybe they're not going to feel the same as Rachel. But I think the whole issue here is, regardless of what road Vince went down, because Vince played every single side in the house,
Yes.
eventually you're going to have to pick a side and eventually you're going to have to make people mad. And that's what happens when you play the sort of rat game that Vince has played.
Yeah, which is why I have said before it was like, oh, he's on the wall with Catherine and other people he
Yeah.
has to win HOH with.
Yeah.
Before that, I was like, he needs to not win this HOH because if he wins this HOH, it is going to become messy boots. He is going to have to pick a side. He only has a certain amount of people he can put up. And if somebody wins the veto, his whole game is unraveled. Everything that he has set up is unraveled. And it is.
Yeah, I mean, he is in a spot where he's made some people mad. I mean, the question now is, okay, can he win some of the people that he's made mad back?
And I think the answer is yes. I
Yeah.
think he's very, very good at mirroring people, having people feel heard, really feel seen. Like he's very, very good at that, on top of the fact that he does play his, oh, me, poor me. And then people will just, feel empathy and feel bad. Yeah, it's a game and it's not the best gameplay to watch, but
No.
it's effective and it works.
Vince is excellent at allowing people to just completely run him over, tear him a new one. Like
Right.
he will just sit there and be a doormat for it in a way that, like, I admire his patience because I don't think I have this emotional capacity within me.
I know that I don't.
I would have a really hard time. But okay, so in the aftermath of this veto ceremony, we got almost instant drama. Like this was very, very entertaining for anyone glued to the feeds this afternoon because, I mean, Rachel showed all of her gratitude to Vince that, she's going to have his back forever. And then immediately ripped Keanu a new one and basically told him that she is just not talking to him. I am very curious to see how long this lasts.
I know it really has been back and forth, brother, sister, between the two of them where they're good, they're not good, they're good, they're not good. But right now it feels like Rachel is just in a different spot because she does have a bigger alliance that's seemingly working together right now. Like they did some work together last week. They're working together still this week.
Yeah.
Will it last past next HOH? Who knows? Probably, maybe, but it is working right now. She doesn't need him right now, so
No.
she can just, get out.
I feel like we have finally reached the point of no return with this relationship, and I could be wrong. I could have total egg on my face. It's just that Rachel's obviously mad at Keanu, but she's also mad at herself because she knows, like, Rachel is smart. She knows, like, okay, this is my own fault for continuing to trust this guy after all the red flags. So I think, in a way, and I don't know if Rachel would admit this, her basically drawing the line and being like, I'm not talking to you, is also her saying, I'm not going to allow myself to get in trouble by giving you any more information anymore.
Yeah, and it may be more about that because she has known that he runs back to Vince all the time. She has said it. She has been like, don't run back to Vince. So, like, she knows that this is a thing that happens. It does feel like what you're saying. It is more of a drawing the line and saying it out loud so that she's holding herself accountable to stop this behavior, her own bad behavior towards herself.
Yeah, you just have to resist this temptation, just like Keanu has to resist this temptation to tell Vince everything, which I don't think he's ever going to.
No, he's riding with Vince.
Yeah, like Keanu still is acting like he doesn't fully understand what's going on here, which I don't really believe. But it's just like I really having somebody who's just this consistently wrong in the game is very fascinating because even after all of this, like Keanu's just telling himself that even he has advocated for Rachel to go almost all week. And yet he is like, I don't want to directly send Rachel home because he's got this big brain idea that I want to sit at the final two next to the person who does send Rachel home because I think that she's going to be so mad at that person that the entire jury is going to be swayed in my favor.
It's a wild thing to think. I mean,
Yeah.
Rachel has some sway in the house, but not as much as I think people think that she would
Yeah.
have this season. She's really struggled with the actual house guests that have been cast this season because
Yes.
there's only one other game player there and it's Vince, right?
Yeah.
So she's really had a hard time making connections and actually being able to ride with people through the whole game, which is something she typically does do. So would she be able to really poison this jury? I don't know that she would be able to. She's just going to be one vote if that's how she votes. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. She may not vote like that. She
No.
is a different player than she was. Just like watch past seasons, recruits. When you've been recruited, just
Please.
anything, just look up some videos, just kind of get a handle on
Yes.
what is going on.
Don't wait until week 3 and not understand how the veto works. It's just like there are so many things about this cast that are so frustrating. And this is the
It's so weird. This
Yeah.
cast is very strange.
very strange. And it's like the one thing Keanu's not realizing, and it actually ties into Vince's decision here. Getting rid of Rachel is such a notch on your belt
Yes.
that everyone, I think, would want to vote for that person. And that's why I think it is a good thing that Vince didn't do this right now, because it would be such a big move on his resume that his target, and it's already big, would be infinitely bigger because nobody else can claim a move of anywhere near that magnitude.
Absolutely, absolutely true. And this move is done so early in the game. Like, I know we're approaching day 50 or whatever, but there's
Yeah.
still so much more game to play that, like, a week in the house feels like 10 months in the house. So by the time you get to the end of this, you've taken out Rachel this week and you're like, well, I'm the person that took out Rachel. Oh, that was like 30 days ago. Like, what have you done recently? That's old news.
Okay, so we're already talking here about Keanu recognizing that he has made a lot of mistakes and he's made a lot of people mad at him. So,
Yes.
what is Keanu going to do in this situation? Completely crash out to Vince. And I was really shocked about this at first because I thought Keanu would just, be snowed over by Vince right away. It would all be hunky dory because he has been like that. Keanu got madder about Vince today than I have seen Keanu get mad about
Mhm.
anybody all season long.
Yep, it's really interesting because he really does ride for Vince.
He told him, you burned me 3 times. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't
Mhm.
think you're really competent in this game. He started just like emotionally vomiting at the mouth and was like, oh, by the way, I had a final 2 with Rachel. I don't know why you're telling anyone this, but I went back
So
on it.
messy.
It really felt like, the third act of a romance movie when you're watching it and it feels like the other person can't let them go. And it's just, why do I keep being brought back to you? I had this final 2 and I threw it to the side for you, Vince. I did all of this to you. How dare you? And then at the same time, he's also like, oh, and I broke this final 2 with Rachel because I don't think I could beat her in the end. It's like, Keanu, you're thinking about this right now.
Yeah.
This is the only thing Rachel's done to you recently. I know you guys had some issues early on,
Yes.
but you're talking to somebody who has, in your own words, burned you significantly 3 separate times,
Mhm.
and yet you're acting more willing to go back to this person than Rachel just because you're worried Rachel will beat you.
Absolutely. Well, and Rachel will beat him.
Yes.
So, yes, if you're looking to go to the end, you don't want to go to the end with Rachel, Keanu. That is correct.
Yeah.
And that is the one right thing that that you did say. You don't want to be at the end
Yes.
with Rachel. However, I mean, that I think in his heart of hearts, he knows that that Rachel relationship is burned. And while he's clearly had to get some stuff off his chest, I understand. I'm a Pisces. I'm somebody that's like that too. I need to get it all off my chest and then I'm able to move on. That's how I work. I don't know that he's a Pisces, but Team Pisces out there, anybody? Okay. But, for him, just getting it off his chest, Vince is somebody who has shown time and time again that he will listen to people, hear them out, work through it, and move past it. So maybe at this point, Keanu is just so frustrated that he's just going to say it all, and Vinny will try to maybe find a way to make it work.
It's very interesting that we could sit here and have a full conversation about certain Big Brother house guests and their astrological signs, because I do think the Keanu Pisces comment is very, very true. And I say this as a Libra. Vince's wishy-washiness, like, man, is that some Libra behavior? Like, I understand. Well, you can sit on the fence with me, Vince, any day of the week. But it was just, you mentioned earlier how Vince is the master of, I'm going to throw myself a pity party.
That's right.
Everybody feels sorry for me.
Right.
He descends into this mode while Keanu is just straight up yelling at him. And Vince starts being like, I'm playing a terrible game. Everyone wants me out. No one likes me anymore. And then I think Vince is just so smart. Like, he knows Keanu is, fitness instructor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is a coach in that way. And I
Yes.
think Keanu can't help himself when somebody comes to him and it's just like, help me, sir, help me. I need you to become my life coach. And Keanu, all of a sudden, he just starts reassuring Vince and being like, I still believe in you, Vince. After everything you've done for me, I'm still here with you. We're going to ride this out to the very, very end.
And this is why Vince should and will win this game. He is just so manipulative with people's feelings. And that really is the way that a lot of people win this game. Like, it's just, if they don't get Vince out, Vince wins this game. I don't know how he doesn't.
I'm sorry, Keanu. I've taken my stand card back. I'm not allowing you to have it anymore. After you
You
allowed.
can still have mine. It's fine.
Okay, you're still entertainment gold.
Yes.
It's just like, you can't go from berating Vince to 20 minutes later being like, I'm so sorry, Vince. I believe in you.
It's just, like we've said, it's just another notch in Vince's game of how he is able to manipulate the people in the house this way with emotions. Like, it's not the most exciting TV to watch, but it is very interesting to me to see that type of manipulation going on with everybody in the house in all these different ways, because his whole game is emotional in that way.
Yes.
He's got the whole pity party thing that's been working really well. He's got the whole, like, I'm here for you, I'm listening to you part of the game, which is also very emotional. And the whole mirroring part of it, to be like, oh, I hear you, you're saying this. Me too, I feel this as well. We're the same. Team Pisces.
Okay, this is just, I mean, Keanu's just a ridiculous human in this entire situation. But I think the thing is that you say one thing to a person in the Big Brother house and they can hold it forever. And I think Vince is very careful about what he says. And I think something that he said to Keanu at the end of this fight/makeup session was pretty smart, where he's just like, nobody else is responsible for this move, Keanu. It was my move. It was my decision to put Catherine on the block. So he's making it very clear that despite all the wishy-washiness, you're not giving Rachel credit for this. You're not giving Morgan credit for this. This was my move. I'm going to stand behind this. And I think this is a preview of what Vince is going to try to do in the finale if he makes it that far. I don't know if it's going to work because it's kind of late to be pulling that card, but I think he's going to try to, after all of this, wishy-washiness and mopingness, all this moping, come out and just be like, I did all of this.
Yeah, and it's important to do that too, because while you can have an emotional, manipulative type of game, you still have to be able to get to the end and be able to read off your resume of how you did and, what you did. And people have to believe you. And if
Yes.
you keep playing this game where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of act like I don't know what's happening and poor me and whatever. By the time you get to the end, we have seen this on Big Brother before, where people get to the end and
Yep.
they played a game like this and they are unable to actually just articulate their resume, what they did, and why they were behind it, because people just be like, oh, Vince, you're so emotional. Sure,
Yeah.
Vince. Like, and they just won't believe him.
That is something that I think we're already starting to see on some level. Like Ashley and Will have talked about this because they're upset about how emotional Vince has been this week. Like, yeah, they're
Yeah.
all in the judges together. They might still work together, but like, understandably, they're probably like, we're all supposed to be in an alliance. Why did you act like this was a really hard choice? It should have been easy. And I think if Vince did make a mistake here, it's, yeah, he made the right move, but the way in which he went about it was agonizing. It took a long time. It frustrated a lot of people, and I understand why he did it, but this is a big mess that he is going to have to take the broom and clean up, and I don't know how good he's going to be at it because you have to deal with a lot of relationships all at once.
Absolutely. And he has been balancing too many relationships. And on top of it, Morgan is glued to his leg.
That is really getting to the next point here because Morgan started to get really upset today that Keanu, this whole romantic dramedy between Vince and Keanu went on for what seemed to be hours, and Morgan was getting really, really mad about it. Eventually, she gets Vince back. They start having a really long, dramatic hugging session slash conversation. Lauren comes up, wants to talk to Vince because really, to be honest, we still don't know exactly how Lauren feels about everything post
Yes.
veto ceremony because she hasn't had a chance to talk to Vince and she won't be honest with anybody else.
Yeah, Vince is really the only space where we get to know what she's actually thinking.
Yeah, and Morgan hasn't let her talk yet. And I mean, yeah, Vince could have been like, yeah, Lauren, come in. But Morgan was saying, like, don't let her in yet. Don't let her in yet. And Vince gave in. So Lauren had to go away. But yeah, it feels like Vince has 7 people he needs to talk to. But
Yep.
because Morgan's monopolizing his time, the Keanu nonsense took up a ton of his time. He hasn't even gotten to Lauren yet as of this recording. It's just been all really, really slowed down. And like, that's something that is going to make people even angrier.
Yep.
So really now though, the situation, and this is once again why this is probably the right move that Vince made, is because Keanu apparently is not mad about it anymore.
Hmm.
I don't think he was ever going to get Kelly back no matter what at this point.
No, that relationship is burned.
Yeah, that relationship is burnt. The Catherine relationship, she's never going to get over what happened with the Riley vote, I feel.
No, I think it's burned.
I think most relationships he's already maintaining. I mean, the Lauren question mark is really the only question mark after this Catherine nomination because Ava was never really with him in the first place. You can just throw her out the window
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
So finally, like, who is the real target this week? Like, this is an interesting question because you look at Ava, you look at Catherine, you look at Kelly. None of them are strategic powerhouses. This is not a decision where it's like, oh, who's the biggest threat in the game? Like, we have to get them out.
Absolutely.
Like, we're in a spot right now where it could come down to something really, really silly, just like who's the easiest to live with. And this is where the things Kelly does come back to light. And sometimes there are just little things. Like last night, she got really mad at Rachel because everybody was complimenting each other during dinner, and Rachel took another drink of wine, and Kelly thought she was being shady and started spreading that around. Then Rachel was quote unquote mean to her, and she went and cried and got upset about it. And it's just like, Kelly, you're doing this to yourself. People want to get you out because you make their lives insufferable.
Yeah, I think if Kelly doesn't win this blockbuster, I feel she's going home. I think that people are really over her nonsense and the way she speaks to people and
Yes.
what's going on. I think for the judges, most of them are very close with Ava. I just don't see Ava
No.
going home. But also with Catherine, I mean, for most people, Catherine's just kind of on her own. Like, yeah,
Yes.
she's hanging out with Lauren a little bit, but she's kind of just by herself. So, like, as far as numbers go, she's not really that much of a problem.
No.
And she will end up going after Vince when the rest of the judges may not want to, that they can be like, you know what? Catherine will clean up that mess. That will be fine. We can be like, hey, we were loyal to the judges the whole time. Catherine took you out. That's not our problem. Kelly feels like if she doesn't win this, she would be the person to go home. And she she should go home.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy decision to call. I think it's Kelly. If Kelly wins, it's Catherine. And I'm not even expecting Catherine to throw this A+ campaign. She's already just complaining about like she doesn't want to go, but she's frustrated and nothing ever goes her way. And it's just like, okay, eventually we just need to lose both Catherine and Kelly. Neither one of them are just bringing a lot to the table
No,
here.
they're not.
All right, so that is where we are coming out of day 49 of Big Brother 27. But we want to hear from you guys. Do you think Vince made the right move? Beyond all of that, how are you feeling about Morgan and Vince, their relationship dynamic? Let us know. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for your support all season long. And you can support us even more by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
we will see you here next time.